Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Drop Frames. Going in the second half here. Any games that we did not talk about in the first half that you guys have been playing? Just any three of you. I know you guys we all play a bunch of different stuff, so forever hold your peace if there's anything else.
Days Gone is still awesome.
Did you beat it?
Is it?
You haven't beaten it yet? I don't think Zeke's finished it yet. Are you? Okay. Story still good? Still holding on?
Dude, story just been getting better and better the whole time.
Okay.
I mean, it's to the point now where it's like I'm really wanting to know where it goes. There's a lot of directions, so yeah, it's really picked up.
Oh, Zeke finished it. I didn't realize that. Go ahead, Jericho.
Sorry, did Days Gone? That's the most recent zombie kind of single player survival one, right?
Yep.
So,
Yes.
One, I was gonna pick it up, but I was disappointed that it didn't have co-op. I would have loved to play that co-op. And then two, from pretty much all of the, I guess the Twitterverse was saying it was like a nice little 6 out of 10 game, maybe a 5 out of 10 with the mechanics. So you're the first person that I've talked to that says that they really like it. What it like the mechanics I hear were kind of clunky, and then I heard it had a lot of like a lot of the things were happening. Just why were they happening? You like give me why do you like it?
So the first 6 hours of the game were a hard 6 out of 10. Not a lot of direction. The mechanics were okay. Not a lot of variety. It was pretty standard. The zombies just seemed like zombies, like pretty solid. Yeah, average. However, the main story and all the kind of interesting stuff in the world kind of funnels down in that first 6 hours to like a few side missions. And then once you get through those few side missions, basically I got to the point where I said, look, I think I'm going to quit this game. I told my stream, you can like straight up, I was like, I think this is probably my last day in this game. Like I'll try it one more day, but if it doesn't pick up, like this is just kind of a regular game. I got better things I can do right now. I played it one more day, and that's when the hook got me. So it basically like the whole game funnels down to these few optional missions, and then once you get through those few optional missions, it's like an hourglass opening back up. And then all of a sudden you've got new camps, new NPCs. Turns out someone's alive. Like it like all this crazy stuff starts happening, and basically it just keeps going up till the end of the game. Like more and more cool stuff and more interesting things. And without spoiling it, like it really picks up. You start getting to flesh out the camps. You start getting better weapons. You start getting better tools to deal with the zombies, and all of that just kind of makes it really good. I started saying it was kind of an average game. Now that I've gotten close to the end, I can say this is a significantly above average game. May even make it onto my game of the year list somewhere.
That is like
last year's episode was crazy because him and Zeke both were saying kind of the same thing, and I was like, did we play the same game? Like, this is the zombie game, right? With the hateable main character we're talking. Yeah, no. Last week's episode was this conversation.
Not to spoil too much, but at my stage of the game, he's a completely different person.
Okay.
I just
like watching a television show over multiple seasons different. Like, yeah.
I saw somebody in the chat say it gets good in season 2. I just, I guess for me that's tough. That's a tough sell because I'm thinking like, well, fuck, you just asked me to watch season 1, knowing it's not going to be great to get to that. Like, I'm not that starved for content that I need to play, but I'm glad that it actually has some redeeming qualities because I thought I wrote it off as like a Watch Dogs to Watch Dogs 2 kind of thing. Maybe they'll improve
there are
it next gen.
incredible scenes in it. Like really heart-tugging scenes, very dark scenes, like worst side of humanity scenes, best side of humanity scenes. Like there's a huge amount of really quality stuff in this game if you look.
That's great to hear. Actually, I think I
also
totally written
not
this off,
zombies, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Once I learned that, I honestly started digging a lot more. It's not zombies. Like it.
Spoiler.
I'm still learning about it, but it is. They have made the zombies, they call them freakers. They've made them different enough where at the end of the game, you are very much like, okay, this is not like your standard shuffling zombie horde. Like we are going a completely different direction with this. So that's gotten a lot more interesting too.
I would show footage of it, but it's pretty spoilery in VOD territory. So I would just say, if you want more information, we covered it last week, pretty in depth. I think we spent like 45 minutes on the game last week. So go check out the VOD from then. But Zeke will be back, I think, next week. And so hopefully by then, you finished it. And, well, we'll probably be talking about Rage 2 as well. But,
yeah, I'm going to be playing it pretty much every day until I finish it. So
okay, cool. Yeah, because I know he did finish it. So
did Zeke get the secret ending chat?
That I don't know. They said that he finished it. I didn't know there was a secret ending, so I guess we'll wait to see. Anything else you guys have been playing?
Yeah. Why don't we talk about what we're not playing? I haven't touched a battle royale game in like a month or two.
Dude, I quit Apex. I did might have been the hardest quit.
I played the day that the season pass came out, and then I was like, all right, well, I didn't have fun. So I wasted money. And then I just I booted up Counter-Strike. And I was like, well, this is such a better experience overall. I've been playing so much Counter-Strike. I keep coming back. But, like, I think that the key difference here is with Apex and every BR game, like, even with your friends, it's the same story over and over again. Sure, the games individually will have different paths, but it's like, all right, well, we still have the general early game, then the mid game, then the late game. It's, like, very cookie cutter and very... I don't know, it just got kind of stale. But then I go on Counter-Strike and I get to play with 5 vocal people, none of who know each other. It's like a podcast with random people. Great. It's maybe the game's not that great, but the content that I'm having on Counter-Strike is incredible.
It's starting to make me think like maybe we've hit whatever the peak is for BR games.
Battle Royale.
Like kind of like what we did with MOBAs and
hit maximum saturation.
Yeah. Like,
so you're going to have like the leagues. Fortnite's never going anywhere, right?
That's the league.
You know, you'll have Dota, which can, pick another one, Apex or whatever. It's just like you got another cool, right? And then you're going to have the Dawn Gates and the like, we tried our best and we're here for a week kind of shit. And then, I agree with you. It's just, it had no
3 years making
power.
it. We were here for a week.
Yeah.
I want to introduce like an alternate perspective here because I think in such a crazy way, like, right, Fortnite is in and of itself like a behemoth, but they set this bar for delivery of content so fucking high. Like Apex to me is a phenomenal game. Like I love how it feels, everything about it. But literally it is fucking weird when you're like, well, like Jericho said, it's like here we are on our 1500th game. It's pretty much the same, like you get a little jealous when they're like, there's a fucking cube that's dropping on the fucking map and it's gonna like change and fucking dinosaurs are coming. Then you can ride it. And I'm just like, man, if Apex had that level of just content added on a regular basis, like what would that be like?
But so
I also think
Fortnite.
It's an unrealistic. Right, it's like so crazy that the frequency and the level that they are doing that. So wow, when you got to meet that bar,
hold on.
Here's what's even crazier to think about. Think about how many new people are being brought into the BR fold from Fortnite. They're gonna see all the stuff that DJ Wheat just talked about, and they're gonna look at every other game and go
compare it. Yeah,
why doesn't that have this? I don't understand. Is it not as good of a game? Like what Epic is doing is not only so far ahead of like on a plateau that people are not going to understand that it's not normal. Like this isn't what most companies do. So they're basically like for all these new people, like just immediately making all their products inferior in some ways. It's brilliant. They basically turned their entire development focus to just extra Fortnite stuff.
Right.
But
that's one of the reasons.
I think Jericho's about to say what I'm going to say. So Jericho, you go.
I was about to say, but that Apex content was shit. It was so unbelievably bad.
Season 1 was not that good. I've been told.
No, it was shit.
Okay, we'll go as far as to say it was shit. Quote Jericho.
Okay.
Quote Lesser Cup.
I'm more heated at the fact that it just was. It was the most unimaginative, like truly bottom of the barrel type reskin recolors that had no character whatsoever and offered no kick in my ass to try and earn it. Like, if you're going to come out with something that is meant for a user to get on and play so they can unlock it, right? You spent $8 or $15 or whatever it is, then you have to make incentivizing options. When the end goal here is like a skin for a weapon that nobody really uses, you're like, well, what the hell are you, like, really, you're out of touch, or like you just scrounge through and you're like, well, we have these laying around.
Do you think?
Meanwhile, I was just back home, and one of my buddies has a 10-year-old who, of course, loves Fortnite, and he trolls his son constantly because he didn't get the Black Knight skin. But I mean, like, it's that deep in terms of like he's like, well, yeah, how's that Black Knight skin? But I mean, like, there's status to that in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's amazing. Like, if you were in middle school, you could be like, got a John Wick, you know? Like, do you have it? There is something incredible about all of that that you know, I do think is having an adverse effect on BRs in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that. The exclusivity model. I mean, Fortnite, I spent a lot of money, more money on Fortnite than anything, just because the skin system was probably the most desirable. Here's $20 for this, but I get 100% of everything that's coming with it. It's not a chance to win. It's not I get one portion of this. It's just like $20, you get it.
Yeah.
Fuck, there's $20. Give me the pink bear. Like, I need it. So.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a smart decision instead of the whole loot box bullshit, which has kind of played other games. But yeah,
VR is dead.
Part of me wonders, but I'm battling internally right now with this idea that, like, I don't know if Apex thought that they were going to come out of the gate and be as big as they were. But I argue with this idea of, like, well, then no, they spent the money to be as big as they were with the influencers that they chose. So they had to have some idea that they were going to be that big, right? Like, because there was a moment in time for those first 2 weeks where you're thinking, and you're looking at Twitch and you're kind of looking at, you know, the hype around this game. And you're like, this could actually, like, take over what Fortnite's doing right now. Like, this is doing remarkably well. Like, yeah, like this could be.
They might have known initial success, but certainly they weren't like, and if we do hit the success, we're going to push out content just like Epic.
Yeah.
So, like, that's where the big thing is. I mean, it was amazing that they're like, here's our year-long roadmap, right, for this game. Right? How amazing would that be if more companies just did that from a dev to player perspective? But that's still, like, frankly, in the world that we live in, we're like, it's going to take you a year to do all that shit. Like, I don't know if the game could keep so it's so, even if they would have known that they were going to have the success, they had to have known, like, there's no way we'll be able to keep up with, right? And the roadmap made that very apparent. It's like, here's what we will be able to do by this season.
Yeah.
And I still don't know if it's good enough.
Yeah, I mean, chat's obviously bringing up a lot of, you know, Epic Games and the idea of crunch and how, you know, 100-hour work week, blah, blah, blah. That, I don't want to, like, I'm not discrediting that. I'm just saying that conversation and tying it to Epic Games, and that's one of the reasons why they're able to push out as much content as they do. But I really wonder, like, dev team compared to dev team in terms of size, in terms of the actual people producing that amount of content coming out of Fortnite compared to, like, what Respawn has. I wonder what those numbers look like. Like, how much actual investment Apex has in that stuff, or Respawn / EA has in that stuff. And if they're wondering if they shot themselves in the foot right now because it's just not there for Apex.
I mean, but do we have any figures on how much they made, how much they're making, how much the game costs? Because I'd be willing to bet they made back their money in the first 2 months of Apex. I mean, it was like
faster than that, I would think. Yeah,
right.
For sure.
So I mean, maybe they're saying, like, we didn't hit the limit or the ceiling that we wanted, but we still did well.
Yeah,
I bet you they did above expectations.
Yeah, and we're also leaving out the whole idea that, you know, Fortnite is putting out a ton of content. They're changing things every single day at the expense of kind of their hardcore players and streamers just being pissed off that so much is changing. Yeah.
When you're 0.005% or less than the population, I hate to say it, and it sucks because I also think that they should embrace broadcasters. But, like, at the end of the day, that on the spreadsheet, those people lose.
Oh, without a doubt.
But you can't put $100 million behind competitive and the sanctity.
No, actually, you can.
You can, because they don't care about that 0.01%. They care about the people that want to play that. The 13-year-olds that want to think, I can play.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about failure, right? Like, they can just be like, nah, there's 100 million. I don't give a fuck if you don't like planes. Like, we're still going to do this. Because, like, what Fortnite wants out of esports is accessibility. Right? That's why they won't do the franchising or the teams. They want 12-year-old Billy from fucking Des Moines, Iowa, to be able to qualify and be like, I look at me, I'm going to New York, right? Like that. Right. That actually is the story that Epic is going for. And it's very clear in how they've set up their qualifiers, how they're approaching esports, how they're kind of like middle fingering everyone, because 12-year-old Billy from Des Moines, Iowa doesn't give a fuck. He'll use that goddamn hamster ball all day if it gets him to New York, you know?
13-year-old Billy. 13-year-old
13 or older is the requirement for the tournament.
Sorry.
No,
sorry.
well aware of it. But
He's actually DQ'd. Billy, fucking you're DQ'd, Billy.
Get him out of here. Jesus.
But like you don't think that they could accomplish exactly what they're doing with like this whole I think my own personal opinion is they put way too much money behind it and it upset everything they could have done with it. Like $100 million for this competitive scene could have been accomplished with the same amount of hype as $15 million. Like you're already the biggest esport at that point, right? You're bigger than TI 6. What is it? 5? I don't know what we're on right now. Like you are the number one tournament, right? So it's like, did you really need to put that much money behind it to make it where it's now become? I just feel like you really overshot the mark there. But I guess they can do what they want.
You're not wrong, Jericho. I think the thing is like Epic finds himself in such a unique position when it comes to esports, where it's like they don't need a fucking sponsor, they don't need to answer to MasterCard or Coke or it, like, because they are their sponsor, right? So like when you start to think about it, like this is less. I think it's just like marketing disguised as esports, right? Which a lot of leagues are, right?
101, 100%.
But to this point, like think about what they're going to be able to do to push branding, like merchandise and all this shit, and creating these festival, like, you know, Fortnite experiences, etc. Like, it's so weird because they live in their own little esports world. They can blow up and nothing will affect esports. Esports could blow up and nothing would affect Fortnite. So I think they honestly were just like, well, fuck it. If we had $150 million, which they probably made in a week, like, why not just throw it out there? So it'll be interesting to see what happens between this year and next year. But I'm like not surprised they're just like throwing shit at the wall and seeing what works. Because at the end of the day, every single top Fortnite creator can bitch or pro can bitch about it. And unfortunately, it's not ever. I don't think it's ever gonna.
It's not going to matter because they're going to still keep playing it, right? Because it's the money maker. Right?
I mean, do you not think that I'm just questioning? Like it gets less viewership than the league, like normal league matches, like regular season league matches get more views than the Fortnite World Cup tournament. Like, I mean, I guess you're going to say it doesn't matter because they don't care, but the ROI is just not there. They could put $100 million into anything else.
The
make
ROI
way more
is in the merch play and in the people buying V-Bucks, right? Like, I mean, it is, as long as you are feeding into there, then the lifetime value of a Fortnite player keeps increasing. And ultimately, that's what they care about, right? They want people to continue to spend money and buy V-Bucks and that, right? Like this is Epic's meal ticket for the end of days at this point. So I think that they clearly are sort of like going with a strategy like that, right? Like we're doing this, we're not doing this so we can be the next football, because I think even they believe that they're never going to be the next football. Like the game type is totally fucked for competitive play, period. But New York City, I think will be fucking massive, dude.
Yeah. Is that the world final spot?
Yeah.
When does that go down?
Where is it at?
Well, I don't know.
We're going to barrage.
Isn't it New York?
101, 101 Fortnite player here. Chat will probably let us know. I'm just curious when all that actually takes place. If that's like a summer thing, or if that's, I guess the last world event was in the summer. Now that I think about it, but
to Jericho's point, one thing that will be interesting is like if this investment clearly doesn't push those things, you know, like we've got merch, right? This Christmas, everyone's buying a fucking piñata. It's great. Or if it's not pushing more V-Bucks, then I could see Epic going like, well, that didn't work out. No, 100 million this year, right? And the weird part is the moment that you set a bar like 100 million, if it's 50 million next year, guess what people are saying? Oh, Fortnite's dead.
Fortnite's
dead game.
Yeah,
dead game. You know.
Yep.
So it's weird.
Cool.
Yeah, because they could have gone 50 mil and still been like the biggest esport in the world.
That's what I'm saying. They could have done it, but they just were like, "Fuck it, let's just do something insane." And you know what? More power to them. And they're gonna make. They're literally gonna make a 15-year-old so rich so
Right.
rich, and that's great.
Right.
Like I'm very happy about that. But it'll be interesting to see. They've already gotten their first cheating scandal, I heard. So.
Like several people colluding.
Dude, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. I'm gonna find Timmy's house and just stand out there with the sign. It's like, you better drop out tonight. Better not show up.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Well, when there's that much money on the line, guess what? People might do fucking anything.
It's gonna happen. Yeah.
Good mill.
Let's jump into a little bit of news. Jericho, you were at the Borderlands 3 thing, right? You streamed?
Yeah, I did. I streamed.
Hold on. No one cares. Randy's tweeting. 1 second. It doesn't matter what the actual, because all the news is about Randy right now, Jericho. What's he saying?
Wait, this is going over my head. I don't.
It's because right now no one fucking cares about the Borderlands 3 game. They care about what fucking Randy's out there saying on Twitter because he's crazy.
What is Randy saying? Oh, is he?
Have you not seen any of this stuff?
Dude,
no,
Randy is
God.
Elon Musk of game development.
Oh my
really?
God.
That's hard to do.
I know.
So it all started.
He likes anime.
I mean, there's been like 3 or 4 instances the past week that have been like if you Google Borderlands 3 right now, you have to go through a bunch of things before you even see gameplay or things about the game because it's all Twitter drama. Yeah, it's all Twitter drama.
The former Claptrap voice was his title.
Yeah, and this is all through like Twitter drama bullshit. It's actually crazy. It started last week after the event when Game Informer had an article, and in the article they basically said that like Randy, while on stage, and I'm going to misquote some of the things that he said on stage, but he basically was out there saying like, Borderlands 3 has no microtransactions. We will not have that.
Very loudly and then paused for a long applause.
Yeah, and they gave him his applause, and he got his applause. And then afterwards, there was another person at Borderlands that were saying that they were going to be selling cosmetics. And so Game Informer was like, well, that's a little bit disingenuous because cosmetics are basically microtransactions.
They are. Cosmetics are microtransactions.
Yes.
There's no gray area.
Yeah.
That's what they are.
Without a doubt. So then Game Informer wrote this article that was basically saying like, oh, Randy was out there and not actually, saying how it actually is. And so then Randy goes on Twitter and starts arguing with the head editor over at Game Informer and saying like, your viewers are calling me a liar. Like, can you please... I think there was a very distinct quote.
Why would you F me like this?
Yeah, why would you fuck me like this? Is what Randy tweeted. That was a direct quote. Why would you fuck me like this? Yeah, Co's frozen now.
Wait, am I going to speed up, JP?
Co's going to speed up. Yeah. Oh, we're ramping up in the... Oh, no, you're good. That's just internet. That's just internet, it looks like. Yeah.
My internet's sucking.
Yeah, it's internet. Anyways, yeah, why would you fuck me like this? Direct quote from Randy. And it goes on, and then Andy McNamara from... GI Game Informer was like, all right, well, can you just give us a quote? Like, can you, let us update the story. Let us tell your story. So Randy goes on like this 30 tweet rampage that ultimately says nothing. It doesn't actually answer the issue that was being questioned at all in the original article. And it's kind of like, all right, well, that's done. Let's talk about Borderlands 3. So then it goes into this whole thing where the original voice of Claptrap was asked like, what happened? Why aren't you reprising your role?
I'll code tweet about this.
Yeah. And he's out there and he was like, well, when I originally did this, I was at the company and I didn't ask for any more money because I was working for Gearbox at the time. So I just didn't ask for money to do the voice for the game. Sure. Whatever. But now they came to me and I no longer work at Gearbox. And I said, I want to be paid for something like this. And, ultimately, Randy said no, I think is what it was. And Co, you might fill in some of the holes here that I'm missing because I'm definitely glancing over some stuff.
This is where it starts getting really confusing. So basically, the guy that originally voiced Claptrap, like you said, was the vice president. And apparently it was a thing in the company where they would say, hey, do you want to voice these characters in our games? You're welcome to do it. And they were like, sure, let's do it. So he was the voice of Claptrap for multiple games. And then here... Okay, I don't want to get involved in the drama.
That's why I'm being very careful letting you do it.
So apparently Randy attempted to get physical over something with this guy, and there was this huge falling out, and Randy Pitchford fired him. So it's not like he just left the company. In fact, in a later tweet, he's like, yeah, I fired his ass, or something like that.
Yeah.
So Then when they were doing Borderlands 3, this is where it gets murky. They apparently questioned him if he'd want to come back, and he said something on the lines of, like, well, I want to get compensated for everything. And then Randy saying his rates were too high. They offered him a very competitive rate that he then turned down. But the guy is like, I just wanted to get compensated for what I'm doing. So it's getting, and then of course they have this Twitter back and forth, and then the Claptrap guy, the original Claptrap guy, puts up this tweet thing like, well, since Randy's being a dick about it, let's talk about what really happened.
He physically assaulted me at GDC in 2017, and like, he pocketed $12 million from the company, and like all this crazy shit.
Open legislation right now, and the company won't comment on it, which is why people are still like confused about this. Where Randy Pitchford basically, like, the way that the Gearbox employees got paid was that there was a royalty pool, and Randy essentially took 12 million out of that pool for himself.
Yeah,
and fucking hero Randy is. What a guy!
But again, we don't know if
magic
this is
trick
true because the company isn't commenting on it, and there's legislation or not legislation. There's like a bunch of legal shit going on with it, like. It's a huge mess, is the TLDR, and all Randy does is pour fire on that pour gas on that dumpster fire.
Yeah, like,
you know what?
It's so.
I'm going to be real with you.
Go ahead.
I think that just based off of how he existed in the reveal event, they paid for an open bar. Mm-hmm. And I drank a lot from that, so I think he's fine in my book.
Okay. Randy Pitchford is a good person. Quote Joe.
No,
I think they go back.
That's crazy. I can't believe I missed all of this. This is wild.
And we skimmed over it. Go look at it. Go ahead.
This is the tip of the iceberg, is what we said on this show. And also, let's not get started on the underage porn thumb drive. Yeah. That's a whole different story.
What?
Yeah. Oh, that's old news. That's old news. He lost a USB
porn as an anecdote.
He lost a USB thumb drive that apparently had underage something porn at a medieval times, and the reason that it was there from Randy is because he wanted to figure out how quote there was so much squirting going on or something like that.
What?
I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. This is 100% real. This is 100% real. I'm not making this up.
It just gets worse and worse and worse.
Yes.
Why at medieval times?
I don't know.
Who eats there anymore?
I don't know. That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, literally,
that place sucks.
I cannot believe that this exists. Amidst legal battle, Gearbox CEO says he left USB stick of porn at medieval time. Like, that is a fucking headline in 2019. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like this all goes back to that really fucking, like, almost like watching a car crash Borderlands 3 announcement event at Hack, right? Like, had they not done the magic tricks, would we be dealing with this drama today?
Now watch as I make these young ladies disappear into my pocket.
It's so crazy.
Hold on. He's not sex trafficker, Randy. He's embezzlement, Randy.
Something
like we don't know.
Who knows? I mean, it's all being. Who knows? I don't know.
Randy sex traffics people by turning them into playing cards.
It's just part of me just.
It's gonna be tomorrow. Twitch dropped frames apparently reporting that Randy Pitchford is now trafficking in love.
Yeah, the funny part is people look at them and be like, "Really? I mean, okay, sure. I guess that sounds maybe like something that could happen."
So, all right, you guys want to start an over under on how long he lasts
at the company?
No, here's the thing.
He'll stay there forever.
Really?
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, this is the big problem with Randy Pitchford. He is the Borderlands brainchild. Borderlands makes a huge amount of money. No matter what he does, he's not going anywhere, and that's why the whole situation is so ridiculous. Because it's like he just keeps putting his foot in his mouth. He keeps tweeting horrible, stupid, boneheaded things. Nothing is ever going to happen to this guy. If it was going to, it would have already happened.
Yeah.
He just headlined a freaking Borderlands 3 announcement event after the porn thumb drive fiasco.
Yeah.
Like, he's
also,
fine.
clarification from chat. It's not child porn. It's barely legal porn is the correct. Yes.
Okay. The old 800-year-old spirit in a fox body defense.
The craziest part of all this to me is like, how is someone not just screaming at Gearbox to just stop, to get off Twitter? Like, we're trying to fucking release a game here.
Yeah, who is their PR?
Just get the fuck, just stop. just like we want to talk about our game, not the fact that you're weird. Like, stop
And
doing this.
want you guys to stop. I want him to.
Go ahead, Jericho.
Oh no, I was gonna say I don't want any of you to step in. I want this to continue. This is the best shit I've ever. The sheer summary that you've told me reads like a shitty fanfic. Like just none of it makes sense. Love it.
Yeah. What were we gonna say, Co?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, the problem is that Randy is steering the ship.
Yeah.
The Borderlands 3 ship is moving because he's at the helm of it. So no one can really step in and be like, yo, we're taking over. Hey, we're silencing you. Because it's like none of this would be happening if it wasn't for him, a lot of people say. But what's hilarious is, like, you look at the previous voice of Claptrap, you look at all these other people, everyone just talks about how he's a terrible dude.
Yeah, it's not
and,
like
he's terrible to everyone around him. And like, but everyone kind of understands, like, he's the Borderlands guy, so it's just that's how we do it. We got into a little bit of a discussion on Twitter where it's like, what do you do in a situation like Borderlands 3, where there is somebody who you fundamentally do not want to support with your money, but there is a fleet of talented producers who are coding, making art, making music, doing voiceovers, whom you want to support? Where it's like that, it's a very tumultuous situation where when you vote with your money, you get one vote, but there's so many issues at hand that there's no right answer. So it's like, do you vote with your money and not support Randy, but then basically say all these other people that worked because of him, your work is not worth my money? It's like, it's a nasty situation, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy the game and all the DLC and I'm going to play it all.
That's why I'm saying
my morals are, you know, like I could like him being a bad boss is incredible, and there's not much I can do about it except support the hardworking people and the game that I have been waiting years to play. If he was like a literal rapist, I would probably be like, all right, you guys got to remove him or something here.
Yeah,
but
sure.
He's just an asshole. I think, as far as we know,
he's just from the sounds of it, and I don't know the guy. He seems to be somebody who puts their foot in their mouth a lot, and then no one tells him not to.
Hey, well, don't kink shame.
Right.
Okay?
But it's just an insane situation. And the problem is, like, it just like somebody said earlier about the car crash. Like, at this point, you just watch the guy waiting for him to screw up again. Like, it's not you don't follow him for news, you don't follow him for insight. It's just like, what are you gonna say next?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the talk around Borderlands 3 is, what is Randy Pitchford gonna tweet next? It's crazy.
And hopefully nothing bad enough before Borderlands 3 releases.
Right?
What if he's the end boss of Borderlands 3?
I wouldn't.
And this is all like a fucking really intelligent.
I would not
campaign.
be
Like,
surprised.
oh my god!
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be incredible.
His tweet bombs are like landing all around us.
What is this USB drive?
Yeah, you have to go find a USB drive.
Deliver Randy's special USB back to him.
Oh god.
Oh god.
Fucking hell. But to circle back around to that, Jericho, you played Borderlands 3. How was it? It was, you know, what can I say? I give it 10 Randys out of 10. I would say that if you enjoyed Borderlands 1 and 2, it's a spiritual successor. Like, it feels good. I played on PC, forced to use a controller, could not go into the settings, could not see anything. It looks modern with cell shading, so that was one thing I was a little worried about. Like, how do you modernize an art style like cell shading? So it's good. I mean, it's Borderlands. I'm excited. It's seemingly like there's going to be more content. There's more worlds for the first time. There's, you know, Borderlands historically has had a really good end game, a really good loot cycle. It's had good DLC in my opinion. So like I'm very much looking forward to DLC was awesome.
Yeah, and they got 5 months, so they've got 5 months to optimize it. They've got 5 months to add new content. I mean, guns with legs were hella cute. Got to play around with those. It was just like satisfying. But we did not get to play co-op or multiplayer, so I don't. And that's really only when I play Borderlands. I don't like running through solo, so I wish they would have let us play around with that. But I mean,
I have a question. I have a question. So, like, obviously, like many after the release or after the announcement of Borderlands 3, I was like, well, shit, I better get this game of the year and play this in 4K and all this shit. And then I started playing and got 10 hours in before I was like, I can't, I'm done. I can't because this game feels so old. All I'm doing is fetching. Like, I want to get to the good shit, but I'm just like, I don't want to do all this other bullshit. Did it, you know, I guess, like, I know Borderlands 2 improves on that a little bit, but where are we at in Borderlands 3? Are they like, all right, Jericho, sit down here, and then you did 2 hours of fucking fetch quests, and then you fought a boss, or like what?
So wow, imagine that. Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, it's that they improved. Like, so what I got to play was one main mission of one area of Pandora, I believe. And so what we did was you spawned in, you got a distress beacon, so you ran through this like little area with people. You cleared out the enemies there. You ran over. You rescued these people. That's a new base. Then you found who was controlling them. You fought the boss, and then that was the end of that. There were side quests. I never did any of them. So it is very much like I said, it's Borderlands 2. If you didn't like that aspect of the go here, do this, you're not gonna like Borderlands because inherently that's what it's built on. Yeah. But it definitely, like, I felt like they improved it enough on Borderlands 2 that if they keep with that that theme of more interesting places to fight, more interesting stand here and defend type missions, like there's room for improvement. Let's fingers crossed, but there was none in the 90 minutes that I got to play.
Yeah, okay. It's definitely seemed, at least when we watched the event last week, me and Co and I guess it was just me, Co and Zeke on the show. It seemed like Borderlands with every quality of life improvement that you want in a game in 2019. So they're not like trying to reinvent the wheel. Like they're at its core is Borderlands, but all the quality of life stuff.
The wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't even build a new one. They just like
they just put some new paint on it.
Hopefully, it being new enough will make it interesting. But
I would not play. I would not play solo. I just wouldn't. It's a great game for background content. Get with your friends and talk about hot dogs, anything else, but like you don't need to be laser focused on Borderlands.
Right. Yep. Hopefully we can get back to learning new things about the game instead of learning what the CEO is tweeting in the next couple of months, because I think it's going to be a pretty big game on Twitch. I know a lot of people are super stoked about it in the Schluter world, without a doubt.
God, every time you say that, it just stings a little bit.
Yeah, someone used it in a headline. Apparently, someone tweeted at me that a major news site was using Schluter. They were like, they stole it from Drop Frames. We cannot take credit for such a name.
I have a new one for you. I had someone in the wild legitly refer to it as a MMORPG.
Wait, they like pronounced MMORPG as a word?
Nice.
Do these people also say like POG when they're excited, or?
I was just like,
wow.
Am I right, my fellas? Big Pog. Haha.
Yeah, Jesus.
Shut up.
Jeez.
That's fine.
I'm making my skin crawl with that. Let's see what else is out there news-wise. Kind of a slow week. E3
actually, can we? Did you see this Missouri senator introduces legislation to ban loot boxes? I want to definitely talk about that because I read this and I'm like, oh my god. Crane game players across the world are freaking out right now because it starts with loot boxes and then you're not able to fucking crane stuffed animals out of machines anymore because that's fucking gambling too. And actually, I digress because like I do have some feelings about all this, but it's crazy. Stuff. Yeah, it's crazy.
I think the big line is skill. And that's actually how they get around.
Introduce it.
How they get around gambling in North Carolina. Is they have gambling here, but to do the gambling, you have to play a little mini game first. And the way that it works is if you give money for a random response, that is what's illegal. That's gambling. But if you pay money, play a little game and win, and then it gives you a random reward, that's how you get around that legally.
Yeah.
So big brain. Like with a green game and stuff like that, that's skill. Like depending on how you function will dictate your reward. So generally that's
Does Senator Josh Hawley agree with you, Co-Carnage? I'm just,
he's actually doing
you're absolutely right. And actually that's happening in Vegas right now too, in like a cool way as well.
Yeah. But I like I really like how this particular guy is angling his legislation directly to minors because I think that will get his bill a lot more traction.
Yeah,
because people are going to see that and be like, "Oh, I don't want my minors gambling." Yeah. So it's like, where do I sign up?
The title of the bill is
like, I don't even know what a loot box is. Why would I care about this? But
the title of the bill is the Protecting Children from Abusive Games Act. That is like the most political thing I've ever heard.
Stop children from getting raped by loot boxes. Like,
Like what?
Like,
That name
Jesus.
though, man. Holy shit, that name.
But I mean, to be honest, like it's a huge deal. Like where parents will log a kid into a game, let them play a little bit, and not realize that game, when they installed it, got the permissions to use the credit card saved in their phone, and all of a sudden they look at their next phone bill and there's $1,700 worth of charges to this game, and a lot of times the kid doesn't even know he's paying money.
Yeah.
So it's like it is a complete ripoff in some cases. That shit needs to stop.
Yeah.
Like that, it's bogus.
The mobile offenders are obviously one of the first here, but loot boxes I think are definitely in it. I have not read this, so I don't want to speak too knowledgeable about it. I'm kind of reading it in real time, but yeah.
I mean, like the big deal is that we know that many countries have already started taking steps towards this. In fact, many things have passed where like they have to show you the contents and the percentages, right? They have to be very transparent. It's no longer like, oh, what will I get? And that's understandable. But the interesting thing about this on top of that is like this is the first in the US, right? Like state initiative that potentially could also be introduced sort of federally. And like that is also kind of crazy to think about where there are so many, there's so much different legislation where it's like from state to state, this is different. And it would be fucking weird if you're like, I live in California where it's all good. And then I like go and I take a trip and I'm in Denver and like Colorado's banned and, you can't, I mean, obviously the legal thing or the age thing is appropriate, but then you like, couldn't buy or open your loot boxes when you're in this location versus another. But I think that Co said the most important thing. Is that right? Like, I think gambling's okay. Apparently, if you're over 21 or over 18, whatever, wherever legislation tells it that that's okay. But it is kind of fucked up some of the practices that developers have done to target younger kids. On the mobile side, Apple and Google have done a lot. Just basically protect people from that and families and whatnot. But I think less so, on like the PC or the console side as well.
And dude, even that, if you look at the last line of that highlighted thing right there, parents already have the ability to limit or prohibit in-game purchases with easy-to-use parental controls. That is bullshit. Every single game
that is true.
Every single app is different. Like that's insanity.
They exist, but there's no normalized tool for that. It's all over the place, 100%.
Or they're not educated enough to be able to, right?
Or they change it every single game because they're not educated, right?
Exactly. Well, dude, the mobile developers make it a mission to do everything they can to get around that stuff in most cases. Yeah. So it's like to say like, oh, it's okay. The people making money have your best interest at heart. It's like, what planet are you from, man? Like, what the hell is this? Oh, it's ridiculous.
It's a weird thing. That's crazy. Yeah. I didn't know that came out about 3 hours ago as of recording. Yep. So
I'm pretty sure we're going to be hearing a lot more about this over the next few weeks and whatnot. But it's crazy. Just like forget all the government regulations part of it is that like this has become a revenue stream for developers, right? And like you take that away. It comes down to game sales, whatever. Like this actually has the opportunity to have a pretty substantial impact on gaming overall, just because of that.
Without a doubt.
Mobile market is where people go to make games,
make money in games.
Make money,
yeah, for sure. Some other small bits of news. BioWare is out there saying that Dragon Age 4 is now their next big focus. As Anthem has now lost its lead creators on the project.
1 week. Dude. I mean, 1 month after launch.
Yeah. Yikes.
What is it?
Oh, but they're still 100% committed. They're just moving all their talent off it. But they're still 100% committed.
That's a crazy thing.
Is it one of the biggest dives, you guys? Like,
I was thinking. So Zeke was saying Evolve last week on the show was comparable.
I disagree. Evolve had an actual competitive, believe it or not, world championship that got viewers because I casted it. So Evolve had something going on.
Okay, all right, sure.
But it did not, like, Anthem just disappeared, period. It's gone. It's not there.
243 viewers right now on Twitch. And it doesn't necessarily mean a success, right? Like lots of people could be playing it.
How many does Evolve have?
I don't even think the Evolve servers are still up anymore. I think we were talking about it last week that there's been reports that the matchmaking now in Anthem you're not able to find other people to play with more often than not. Like it's that low in terms of the amount of people playing it.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's comparable to Lawbreakers because Lawbreakers didn't have the budget. I could be wrong. Didn't have anywhere near the budget or
Lawbreakers
hype or
never had
that,
the peak in a sense that Anthem did, right? Like, yeah.
Also, I mean, the big thing with Anthem is, and I mean, I know not everyone feels this way, but I'm one of the people that did. Like, the base of Anthem was pretty cool at times. Like, it was actually a pretty fun game to play. It's just they completely dropped the ball on actually making content, making things to do. It was more of a design and decision issue. It wasn't like a funding issue. It wasn't like there wasn't enough people working. Like, it was clearly just mistakes. It wasn't technical limitations. It wasn't, like they didn't have enough time. It was just a lot of bad decisions and mistakes led to something that could have been awesome being completely mediocre. And now it's like they're trying to hype us up for the company's next project.
Yeah.
It's like that's the thing that drives me a little bit crazy with this whole like, oh, Dragon Age 4 coming out. How can anyone be excited about Dragon Age 4? I'm a Dragon Age fan. I love the franchise. And I hear this thing about Dragon Age 4 and I'm just like, God, they're going to screw this up too. Like what they're going to ruin Dragon Age now. Like, I don't understand how anyone can be excited.
Let me ask you guys a serious question. Do you think at E3 this year, at the EA Play conference, they mention Anthem at all?
Ooh.
Nope.
Do you think it gets like we're working, like we launched Anthem to less than
if they do, they're going to be like we sold
5
million copies of this game. Thanks to the Anthem players or something like that, right?
Like, that means it's a success and then walk off.
Yeah.
Thanks, Todd.
Yeah, that'd be an unforced error right there. That would not be a good idea.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
Well, E3 is the show of not good ideas. So, I mean.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of new games and announcements, tomorrow there's like 3 things right in a row of announcements. Ubisoft is out there with this Ghost Recon teaser saying we're going to see a new Tom Clancy game announced tomorrow.
That now too.
What was that?
The guy that played the Punisher is doing some Ghost Recon stuff.
Really? Okay, that's kind of interesting. I'm kind of
weirdly enough, I just happened to see that on Twitter. Like nobody, it seems to be very under the radar, which is weird because people seem to love Punisher. But
I love John Barenthal, and Punisher with John Barenthal is fucking awesome. Season 2 is amazing.
They've been doing a lot of live action stuff to promote the game, so it doesn't surprise me.
What are you laughing at, Cal?
Someone in chat was like, John Travolta! Like,
that's accurate. John Travolta as the Punisher in Ghost Recon.
Holy shit, incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a picture of the guy in the Punisher suit doing the whole like thing from Pulp Fiction where he's like,
wait, hold on. Someone in chat just said that Lyric played with John Barenthal Ghost Recon Wildlands. I love John Barenthal, but he is not a good interviewer, so I really want to watch that stream because those two people have to be the complete polar opposite when it comes to content.
Just happened?
I guess this happened sometime already. Yeah, it's already occurred. I have to go watch that VOD because, wow. Uh-oh,
Yeah,
what's
it
the
doesn't
face?
sound great.
Is this other news?
Ars Technica just linked as of an hour ago Bethesda's latest Elder Scrolls adventure taken down amid cries of plagiarism.
Wait.
Elder Scrolls Online? Is that?
Yeah. No, a promotional Elder Scrolls themed tabletop RPG released by Bethesda Tuesday contained widespread instances of apparent plagiarism from a D&D adventure published by Wizards of the Coast in 2016.
Wow.
Of all the people who plagiarize!
Wow.
Really?
That's weird. That's a weird thing.
Oh, and
Wow.
comparisons.
Are there any smart game companies anymore? Like, what the fuck's
Jeez.
going on?
How do they not like, source
Oh,
check
E3
that?
guys.
It's crazy.
That's not good.
Anyways, I got to watch that John Barenthal thing. I need to read that story you just talked about as well. But to go back to what I was saying, so new Ghost Recon of some sort, a new game tomorrow. There's the Sony State of Play, which is the Sony Nintendo Direct, which is happening tomorrow. They're going to be showing medieval gameplay and a new unannounced title that Square Enix has actually been out there saying that it's going to be a very big game and to tune into this, I believe. So it's either the Avengers game or it's something else. So we'll see. I hope it's the Avengers game, and I hope it's a big deal. But that is apparently tomorrow. And then right after that, there's something else that I'm forgetting now. Chat will have to remind me. It could be Final Fantasy VII, or it could be Final Fantasy 16. It could be a lot of different things.
Final Fantasy 17 would be, or 7 would be awesome.
Yeah.
We haven't rated that in years.
And the other thing right
It
after
has to
that
be
is Monster
this
Hunter
year.
World. They're doing an hour on their new spring update, and I think they're going to talk about the new DLC after that.
Oh, Code Vein info. Yeah, about that game. That game's still a thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm very curious to see what they show tomorrow.
So, JP, when does all this stuff happen?
Starts tomorrow, I believe, at 5 p.m. Eastern, and then at 6 p.m. Eastern and 7 p.m. Eastern is when all this starts occurring tomorrow.
Are they all an hour long?
I think so. I'm not 100% certain. I just know that they're occurring tomorrow, I think, at those times. Yeah.
And is there any particular reason they all picked May 9th?
No, I don't know. That's the weird thing, is they're all happening like right after one another. It's Sony is just 10 minutes. Okay. So Sony's quick.
Oh.
Sony's
By
is
the way,
very
this
quick.
plagiarism is unbelievable.
Is it like one-to-one?
word for word plagiarism?
Yeah.
Oh
Wow.
yeah. Oh yeah. Names that are just copied, pasted, and shit. Like
Wow.
that article's crazy.
The part
That's
that's
nuts.
obscene about that is how could they not think that would be noticed?
Yeah,
Like,
right? That's a crossover.
D&D?
Yeah.
It's like a culture.
Yeah.
Like how it... Oh my God, dude. I tell you.
Yeah. The other thing that I think is interesting about these, specifically the Ghost Recon thing tomorrow. Wheat, feel free to not say anything here since you are a Twitch employee. I hope I'm not putting you in a weird spot by talking about this, but Ubisoft and
Fuck
Twitch
bounties.
have been doing a lot of things in the past couple of years in terms of like brand deals, and they've reached out to a bunch of streamers. I've
Oh,
done
did I
some
guess
stuff
it?
for Assassin's Creed and crap like that. But there's a bounty tomorrow to restream the Ghost Recon event within Twitch, which I think is interesting.
Why?
Did you see the
Why?
Did you see the Capcom one beneath it?
The Street Fighter one? Yeah.
Yeah, just watch a trailer. Why do you think that's weird? I don't think that's weird at all, though.
Well,
I just want to say you're welcome, because co-streaming came from this dome right here, and you're getting paid for that shit now. Like,
No,
yes.
Underpaid, grossly underpaid.
That's
and
the
not
thing,
worth
is that it's
anybody's
grossly underpaid. That's what I'm talking about.
Anybody who takes the bounty is
Oh.
a sheeple.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? Listen,
Without a doubt,
I
the pay is way below what is normal.
pissed in my mouth
think.
more, and then also they have the audacity to give you, like, if you maintain a viewership number that's 2.5 times what you normally do, you'll get underpaid severely.
Yeah.
But hey, you get paid. It's like, oh, shut up.
I think
Like,
you guys
no.
should retaliate by not taking the bounty, but co-streaming
news.
anyway.
That's what I'm going to do. That's honestly
Wait,
what I'm going to do.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for a guy with a $5 bill to just coming off screen on Wheat's screen.
Yeah.
Big
Good
brain.
job.
Dude, it's
Yeah.
the same thing happened with Final Fantasy 14. The past 2 weeks, there's been like stream Final Fantasy 14 for a bounty, and I've just been streaming the game without that. But it's because that
I mean,
stuff
like,
is so under
look,
normal.
I'm
Well,
not involved with bounties.
Right.
I mean,
That's why I didn't
obviously
wanna-
it's a
you don't have
sales
to
team,
comment.
right? And no, I mean, like, what I will just say for this, and like, I'm not wearing a Twitch hat. I'm like wearing, just like my like
You're literally wearing a
streamer
Twitch hoodie
evolution
right now.
hat, but
You're
whatever.
wearing a Twitch
but like
hoodie, though. You want to?
the fact I'm not wearing a Twitch hoodie. I'm wearing a Stormlight
really?
Archive
Okay, I'm
t-shirt. The fact that game companies and or brands see this as a legitimate advertising and or like marketing method, I think is kind of awesome. So
Oh yeah.
I mean, what, bounties are less than a year old, so I mean, we laugh and chuckle and everything because obviously these opportunities weren't available, but I think that this will get even bigger over time, right? But it's probably not, I would imagine it's probably not the easiest sell either. And it's like, right, like, hey, just give us a bunch of money. We're gonna have people do the thing that we tell you to, and there you go.
Yeah.
Devil's advocate, because like I was working pretty closely with Twitch to when they were going through bounties and the idea phase months ago. On their side, the program exists for people that don't have any idea or any drive to represent themselves in a market fair value way, and those people don't care if they undermine the rest of the market by taking this deal, nor does Twitch care about the anti-competitiveness
Right.
of the fact that this is even existing, skipping most normal company protocol to go through a representative that is not affiliated with the company that's which is Twitch.
You
It's just
you
a bad
represent a
program.
different classification of streamer, though. Like, let's
Right.
Without
let's
a
be
doubt.
honest, right?
Without a
Because
doubt,
that person
yeah.
who
Right.
has
No, 100%.
150 subs, yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why I am here saying to the streamer that may be tempted by that it's still a terrible idea. It's just not there. You're right. It is cool that they're doing this, but it's not anything new. People have been putting money into video games for the last like 5, 6, 7 years in terms of these pay in order to get content stuff. I'm not upset that the fact that bounties are an idea. I'm just upset with it's for the greater good of this type of streamer, because it's not at all.
Well, Jericho, quick question. Is it better to have bounty or no offers at all?
That's
No
the thing.
offers at all.
No, that's not because
It's better for all streamers to just have no offers of these at any point.
No,
coming through.
I'm saying that they shouldn't look at this as a lot of streamers in terms of Twitch locating or positioning themselves see this as the only way they can get off. This is like being marketed as like, if you want this, then here's how you do it. You go through us. You go straight here. You're gonna, Twitch is actively acting as almost like a middle ground pseudo manager, which is like kind of a weird.
I would argue that like try to put yourself into the shoes of someone who averages like 95 viewers, right? Maybe they've reached 200.
I have a lot of friends like that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? Like, not all of them go to events. Not all of them have the ability to like meet game developers or to like open up networks and that. And like, on the positive side of this is that I've heard many stories about like, hey, I did this and that put me in contact with this company, and now I'm starting to understand like how I can
now
approach the company. And what?
It doesn't put you in contact with the company.
Maybe not directly, but I think
maybe not directly.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that like if someone reaching out after the fact and say, "Hey, we liked what you did. Can we, add you to a streamer program? Can we talk more about these other games coming out?" And there are more services that aren't even organic to Twitch that like we're seeing a lot of indie folks doing that too. But like there is a need, Jericho, for an up and coming generation of streamers to have some level of access to opportunities. And while I would agree, you don't rely on this is what I'm hoping that you're saying, right? Because that probably won't be the path forward. Or
you're a great host. You host events all the time. Listen, man, like you do me a solid here. You come work my event for $200. It's a 3-day event, but you'll get in contact with, you won't get in contact with the people running the event, but you'll get in contact because people see you doing it. And then hopefully they will come and pay you what you're worth.
I tell you to go fuck yourself because I have hosted, I have the experience, I have the resume that says, no, that's what you pay me. But what about the person who doesn't, right? Like
I think the issue here is that, and both of you have very good points, but I think you guys are like on different sides of the argument.
So like, so too, yeah.
Like it's like there's completely different people. I will say this: I wish when I was starting on Twitch that bounties were a thing. There were many times when I was strapped for money and I needed an extra few $100 to pay this bill or a few $100 extra for rent. I wish I could go to a place. Hey, I'm going to play this game anyway. Boom. I didn't have any connections at the time. I didn't have a manager. I didn't even know what to do. So like at that stage, it was great. And that worked great. And I'm glad, and I would have been glad it was there. Now, full disclosure, I've never done a single bounty, but that's because they're not targeted to me. Like I have connections now. I've got a manager. Like they handle all of that stuff. I think what seems like a good middle ground is making sure that the streamers know that bounties are for beginners. Bounties are for when you don't have the infrastructure, when you don't have the agent, when you don't have the connections. And then maybe Twitch could go a little bit further with being like, hey, you just completed a bounty for this company. Here's the guy at the company's email that you can contact if you want to work with them in the future. Right. And like maybe make that handshake. Like start fostering the relationships and the connections that are going to get that streamer to the next level so he's not stuck doing bounties all the time. Right. So make it
I just don't want to hear about that. I just don't want to hear about a streamer who is, eligible for a bounty, taking something and then saying like, this is my norm, and then never doing anything to say, hey, like maybe I can do more. It's not about like, hey, this is something that I need this money, I should do it. Like that in itself, the availability, dope. But having it vertically integrated where Twitch is the one doing all of that is not healthy for anyone, I think, long term. Short term.
Well, where does
hell
it come
yeah.
from if not for Twitch? I mean, I don't want to play defender here, but
I don't have the.
Yeah,
I don't have.
We
You
don't have
know,
the answer to that.
Fair. It
Yeah, I
would
don't
have
have the
been
answer to that.
one thing for Twitch to connect streamers to companies. It's another thing for Twitch to interject themselves in the monetary process, receive money from a company, and then decide how much they want to give to the person making it. Those
That's
are two
the problem.
very different things. So it's like if the bounty board just put us in connection with companies, and then we could work that out between us and them, like. But maybe there should be bounties that are like that. Maybe that's the next level of bounty, is not Twitch paying the person, but forming that relationship so they can then grow on their own. But it is different, because you have to admit, like, I can only imagine how much Twitch is getting for the bounties when it goes that way. I mean, Twitch has to make money too. We all know that. That's just a given. So not
how
knowing
advertising
that,
works.
having that play into everything else, I think is one of the reasons that we're having this discussion right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting situation. And again, I think you have a really good point, Wheat, because if bounties weren't there, then there really would be no one else stepping in to do anything like it. So,
I mean, I don't want to take away the efforts of grassroots. Like I just saw this morning, right? I'm gonna call her out in a positive way, but I saw this morning, Clara. Right, she like posted this like cute cat Metroidvania game, and it's like, hey, you can go here and you can get a code and whatnot, and like that's a way where it's just like this is sort of a transfer of assets, if you will. You get the ability to play the game, right? But that also is direct connections that oftentimes are happy. So there's a lot of really cool grassroots efforts. But unfortunately, like there's no guarantee that is necessarily paying anyone as well. So I totally agree. And I mean, to your point, Jericho, like we're lacking education, right? Because there's a lot of people who now they've been streaming for a long time. They've maybe are with a management group. They've got regular things coming in, and they're not even looking at their bounty boards anymore. But there is still an enormous amount of people, even on the affiliate side, that are like trying to work their way up and become larger streamers. And I'm a fan of there being more opportunities. Now, how this plays out and what's the best source, I would agree. Like, I think just sort of wait and see. But
I think the scariest thing.
I wish I had go for it.
Well, I just want to say, I think the scariest thing, which is kind of what Jericho is starting to, I think, been alluding to this entire time, is this idea that companies, and let's use Ubisoft for this example for this co-stream tomorrow that's happening for Ghost Recon. Companies will see this and Twitch will sell it to them as, see how easy that was to just get so many streamers to stream this for not that much money? We can do that for every game that you have, and that becomes the norm. And they start saying, no, we don't want to talk to you guys directly. Go through Twitch. We're going to use the bounty stuff. This is going to be the main way that we do everything moving forward. And that's where it's a little bit scary because of how easy Twitch can make it for these companies to do the sponsored streams.
I mean, that is a worry, but that wasn't like the core of it. It wasn't like shit, my market value is going to lower down, right? It was more like there's been a lot of people. I'm going to use this example. Ninja and Luminosity. Luminosity has Ninja by the ball so hard that he can't leave right now.
Right.
They have his nuts, right? He signed that deal with Luminosity, a couple years, I don't know, pick one, before he blew up. And he is now he can't leave because he is locked into a long-term contract with them, right? So the problem here is that Ninja was, in a position where he's like, this works for me, and then it blew up, and now he is on the other side of this to a very smaller and like not as serious extent, doing this with bounties or with any vertical integration of like we act as the people that go out and buy the ads, and we act as the people that go out and distribute the money. That opens up a lot of problems where it's like, well, you did this for $200 anyways. You either do it for $200 forever or you don't do it for $200 ever. You know what I mean? It's more like I don't trust anyone, even Twitch, even though I love everybody, but because you're a company, you got to make money.
Smart, man.
Right? Like my loyalty
That's
is to
business.
people, not to a company.
Yeah.
So it's just a fear
and it's funny
of
because
overreaching.
I hear Jericho say this, and he doesn't even know this, but we did the Totino's bucking couch event a many
I hated that, but I loved it.
And I don't know if you remember this, but you, me, Tim the Tapman, and Summit were having a discussion, and we were talking business, right? And I walked away there, and I was like, man, Jericho has his shit on lockdown. Like, this is a guy who understands his business, who understands what he's doing, who's making the right decisions. I remember you even saying, like, to Summit, and you made an effect on them that day. But like, it is kind of fun because I'm like hearing words from someone who I'm like, well, yeah, you've actually one of the few people who's got it fucking figured out, you know? So it's like, I'm defending all the people who aren't you yet. Right. So
I'll also say that's happened another time with Jericho and those same streamers at a Battlefront event. So
it's good. Man.
Spread the good word. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I wish there was a simple solution that we could just snap into it, but it's a growing industry. So like, who knows?
Right.
You know,
and I think these discussions are healthy about it. And it's good to talk about this stuff for sure. We are running a little bit low on time, and we do have Crazy Dan's questions of the week to get to. If you've never seen this segment before, I'll explain it one more time. I think we're going to have to do this every week, so I'm going to have to get better at doing this faster. Crazy Dan is a viewer here in the stream that, let's say, really loves asking questions. And it got to a point to where the only thing that would happen was that he would ask the question nonstop. And so I said, Crazy Dan, I'm going to do you a favor. You are limited to 3 questions every single week. And if you ask anything else, we will permanently ban you from the channel. But you can ask these questions on any show you want, and we have to answer them 100% no matter what. He has 2 questions left for this week. The other question was used during a Q&A yesterday for roleplay. So these questions also...
Like 3 minutes, by the way, so we'll have to kind of power through.
Yeah. And if their Crazy Dan's questions are usually harder hitting than normal. So, if you do have to depart, just let me know. We'll do shout outs and we'll send you on your way. The first question from Crazy Dan is, like I said, a harder question. He says, I recall Bike Man having a close call with his heart attack a while back, which sparked an awareness of health message to multiple streamers in your social circle and beyond. With that being said, how often do you exercise, and has it changed how you stream?
What a fucking great question.
I told you these questions are great. It worked out really well. I definitely, it was a wake-up call, I think, for a ton of different people in different ways. For me, it was specifically like health related. It was like thinking about the stress of the industry and how to actually, either evade that or work with that or just think about it in general. Because a lot of that, I think, is what caused Bike Man's current predicament. And a lot of it was just health. So, yeah, I think it definitely sent a ripple throughout the industry to people that you wouldn't even think would be affected by that. It's definitely created a better thing out of a shitty situation, without a doubt. That's my take on it. Feel free to answer it. I'm very curious about Wheat's answer to see if he has anything in terms of like from a Twitch standpoint, if that rippled throughout the company at all.
I mean, I think like the thing that ripples perpetually is that like in a world of Twitch that would love to truly solidify streaming as a job, like the holy grail of that would be some sort of healthcare. So like, right. It's always a thing that I think is being discussed because like, and even me for the good well-being of every broadcaster, like, I hope everyone has health insurance. I hope they're doing like what is right. And again, this comes back to the education and awareness is that like, not saying we need these things to happen, but we need people to be better advocates for all of it. Because like at the end of the day, I hate to break it to you, but fucking sitting in your chair for 8 hours a day is really fucking bad. And it will just accelerate the bad things that can happen to you. So regardless of the fact that you should be going to the doctor every day, as much
Jesus, that's a lot.
And eat a lot of apples. No, Jesus. On a regular basis.
Get serious, okay?
Yeah. I think like it should be, I think a wake up call to everyone to just be like, at least evaluate your own habits. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because like a lot of people already know this. And I don't think people are like, I didn't know I needed to exercise or do this to stay healthy. I think we all know it's just a matter of like, can we do it? Admittedly, I suck at all this because I choose work over that. And actually that's one, I announced last night, I'm moving to Omaha, and that's one of the things I hope to, do better for myself, is that I will have put myself less in like sort of at office and work all the time and have the opportunity to actually take better care of myself.
Yeah, and we should also state, Bike Man's fine. He's actually the smartest out of all of us here because he's currently on a cruise where he's probably relaxing and not stressing out, which is this very thing. So he definitely learned how to live life well.
He's doing it right.
Yeah. Co's short on time, so we're going to let Co answer this, do some shout-outs, then we'll get Jericho's answer, do the other question, and call it the show. So, Co, go ahead, and we'll do shout-outs.
I have not exercised much of my life at all. I used to do a lot of sports in high school, and that involved, like, multiple trips to the weight room every week. And then as soon as I didn't have to do that anymore, I stopped. And I basically stopped doing that through most of my 20s and 30s. However, funny enough, I have 2 kids now, and I had a health scare at the end of last year. And I started walking a lot more. I started walking a mile every morning, which isn't a lot, but, it gets the blood going, especially if you've never really walked at all. And started doing that a lot. However, I had a second son a couple months ago, and I'm still trying to figure out my routine now. So I've got to put that on pause. But I will say that it was exceptionally surprising to me after a couple weeks how just that little bit of walking in the morning made a difference.
Oh yeah.
Like it is wild. And I'm not an exercise person. And it's to the point where now, like, I'm looking forward to when I can kind of get that implemented again and get it going and kind of nail it down again. But it's wild. A mile is not long. It takes like 20 to 30 minutes at a very easy pace. And I highly suggest if you got some free time in the morning and you don't exercise, try it out. You can get any phone stepper thing on your app and you can set it, just give you a little alarm and just
Go
walk
play
around your house.
Pokemon Go for a fucking hour. Yeah, seriously.
Do that for 2 weeks and just watch what happens.
Yep. Not only from like just a physical standpoint, but like mental health wise, you'll be very surprised how much just like Co saying a 10, 15-minute walk will impact you. It makes a huge difference. Any sense of activity.
Oh, and for everyone saying 20 minutes is a so mal, that's the point. The point is to just get like a relatively high heart rate and then hold it. So you're barely even speed walking. You're just going for a walk. Like just that nature. Little bit. It's wild. It sounds like it doesn't do much at all. Try it.
Does a lot. All right, Co, do some shout outs. We'll let you go.
Sure. Thank you everyone for watching this week. There is more of the show, but unfortunately I need to get out of here. I got some stuff I need to do this afternoon. My name is Co, for those that haven't met me. Hi, it's nice to meet you. Tomorrow morning, we're going to be playing Rage 1. We're going to be starting it. So anyone that wants to check out Rage 1 before Rage 2, next Tuesday. Man, did that sneak up on us. We'll be doing that tomorrow morning. And then in the afternoon, we're going to be continuing our adventure in Days Gone. So as always, thank you for watching. Big thanks to JP, Jericho, and DJ Wheat. It's been a lot of fun today. And I will see all of you fine folks next week. Thanks for watching.
Awesome stuff. We will see you then. Congratulations on finally becoming better Co.
It's been a long, hard road, but we got there.
That's true.
We did.
Temporarily.
True. All right, make a funny face and get out of here.
If anything, I'm probably going to die before Jericho because I'm a lot older. So, it's temporary.
Who really wins? The war of attrition.
All right. Tune in next time for Battle of the Co's, whenever that is. Anyways, make a funny face, Co, and get out of here because it'll save it. Beautiful. It just saves the last frame when he leaves. So we'll just leave it.
I love it.
Jericho, would you like me to rephrase Crazy Dan's question?
No,
Are you good?
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, so everybody, I mean, I remember when, a couple years back, we had that whole debate. It was really popular about like how much streaming is too much. Like how much, are you putting streaming in front of your mental health?
Right.
And luckily, like I've been in a nice position where I only stream about 5 hours a day. And as such, I have a little bit more free time. So I've been going to the gym every other day. I run a lot. I lift weights. Like I'm in the best shape of my life now than I am when I used to be, streaming and making YouTube videos and stuff. It's just because like I care a lot about myself. And if I die early, that's going to suck. So I just would prefer not to do that.
Yeah,
it's not even plan. Like, yeah, it's like not even like I don't even feel the need to be healthier for my own sake so much as I'm just like, well, if I let this get too bad, like I'm just gonna be miserable and fat and tired and not happy. So I might as well just stop that now while I can.
For sure. Yeah, I think Bike Man's heart attack scare, etc., was definitely a wake up call, and I think before that. Total Biscuit definitely sent a much larger ripple when he was kind of going through all of his things that ultimately, worked out how it did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that streamers are a small enough group that anytime anything like that happens, that it sends shockwaves through the entire industry that you just don't even consider or think about.
We don't even like, most of us are in the wheel, right? So it's, you don't go out much, you don't do a lot of things actively. So you think, well, I mean, most of the shit outside, like, I'm probably gonna be okay. I don't drive a lot. My chances of getting into a car accident way lower than people's. So it tends to slip your mind that you're not being healthy because you're avoiding stuff.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, even as recent as like 2 days ago, Dr. Lupo was out there tweeting about how his life has kind of been living in the numbers recently, and it's starting to take a toll on him mental health wise. And I think that is going to be a very common thing, if it's not already. If people are not talking about it, they will be talking about it very, very soon as Twitch continues to move forward, because streamers put a lot of time into what we do, both on stream and off stream, and it is a much harder business than I think a lot of people understand, for sure. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of years, but I think that there's going to be a much bigger industry-wide moment whenever that actually starts kind of going down that path. So we will see. The third and final question of the week from Crazy Dan. Every person who chooses to become a full-time Twitch partner usually has a story of his/her journey to tell to get where they're at. After being a streamer for so long, what has been your toughest hurdle but best lesson up to this point in your career?
I'll go. This is easy for me.
Do it.
I went to Los Angeles to sort of take my career from being an internet radio DJ shoutcaster to, like, what people thought was going to happen, which was like television and gaming and blah, 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 and moved to Los Angeles and had a kid. And it was actually one of the worst 5-year periods of my life, because obviously the economy was shit and gaming didn't do well on television. And, you reach that point where it's like, well, I'm not going to find a new job in Los Angeles, so I've got to fucking move back to Omaha. Well, that also happened to coincide with, like, Ustream and then JTV and all these set up. And, like, it was that point where I had a moment to either be like, you know what, fuck this noise, or I'm just not going to give up and I'm going to keep going. And I think, like, it was that moment, right? It was like, I'm not going to give up. I still believe in all of this. It's been like the worst 5 years ever, but I, love streaming so much, love this idea of this new form of entertainment, love this, the chat associated with all of it. And it was just that, it's so easy to just be like, don't give up, especially when we segued from, like, mental health, because, like, I have had so many periods of burnout and learning how to manage and all that shit. But it was that moment, it was 2009, right? Then this was also, like, all the great things happened in 2009, from, like, StarCraft 2 got released and League of Legends started blowing up and Street Fighter 4 blew up. So it was like, if you just keep going, I feel like you can truly make those dreams happen. But that was it for me. Just, like, not giving up even after it was like, it should have been over.
Yeah. Jericho?
Yeah, I guess mine would be the realization that I didn't really want to play Minecraft anymore. By the way, I'm streaming Minecraft today after the show.
Nice, I like it.
But it was like, we were during a time where, I was getting like 20,000 viewers during a normal live stream every single day. I mean, the group that we were playing with would routinely have over 250,000 people just watching the series. And it was like, oh shit, this is that large of a thing that, like, you'd have to be dumb not to enjoy it. But I didn't enjoy it towards the end of what we were doing, daily episodic content, 2 hours a day, all this stuff. And I decided to stop, which obviously, to the detriment of everything that I was doing, made, for a difficult transition period from where you have a bunch of really, honestly, under 15-year-old people watching, and now suddenly you're trying to go into Counter-Strike, or you're trying to do PUBG, and you're trying to play these games that have no similarity. So, like, it tanked my channel to the point where, going from 20,000 concurrent viewers down to an average of like 1,000 was a tough, pill to swallow, but I was overall happier. And then eventually over time, people stopped seeing me as it took 4 years, but like they stopped seeing me as a Minecraft streamer and more of just somebody who streams whatever they want. Now it's great. Now things are going well. Way more fun, way easier to avoid burnout when you play something different every single day, and you don't have a schedule like that. So I think it was just trying to give up something that was going so well and had truly been like this incredible period of growth, and just saying like, I think I'm going to give the numbers up and just like do what I want to do instead.
Yeah, I think mine kind of goes, I feel like most streamers have that point or will have that point when it's like, well, this is going to do very well business-wise, but I'm not happy, so maybe we could go this route. Like that. That's definitely a common theme I see a lot of streamers have. And for me, that was definitely the thing where it came down to it after kind of the StarCraft 2 craze, and it started to die down. It was this idea, well, could move to New York and work for MLG full-time. They've already said that they want me to, and it's a long conversation. I mean, Wheat was part of those late-night calls where it's like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do, man. And it came down to it where it's like, well, let's try something else. And so I just like cold turkey quit MLG and all things esports and got into the streaming thing after like 3 months of wallowing in, whatever that is, depression, right. I guess is what you could call it. But yeah, and it was the idea of like, well, I guess we'll try doing, content, just normal content and not esports centric stuff. And kind of like your experience with Minecraft and seeing lower numbers and all that, it kind of had to recreate the brand. Whereas as a caster, I was kind of like the bland, no opinion, very stoic, monotone person. And now I had to be an entertaining content creator, the opposite of all those things. And luckily it worked out because we started doing role play, which is the D&D show that I do, and that's kind of where everything started. Plus Skyrim had just came out, so we had a great game to play at the very beginning of the whole streaming thing. Right. And it kind of just went on from there. But the lesson that I kind of learned there is to always, if the fun is not there, if you're not enjoying what you're doing on an everyday basis as a content creator, like, you have to stop, or it's just you're not going to enjoy, and you're going to burn out so much faster, and you're just going to hate life so much faster with all that stuff. So that's my answer, and those are the 3 questions, or 2 questions rather, from Crazy Dan.
Solid cues.
Yeah.
Well done.
Crazy Dan, hell of a question guy. They reset every single Monday at noon Central, if you were at all curious. The questions reset. We had to put that in there. And that also, that applies to, it's a good point. Someone in chat was saying, like, that also applies to non-content creators, without a doubt. I think we're just speaking what pretty we broad, know and what we do in our jobs. So let's do some shout outs and call it a show. Jericho, we are sorry for your loss today of the Better Kill title, but we appreciate the fact that you put it out there and you tried.
I'm uninstalling Mortal Kombat.
As you probably should. It takes up a lot of it's like 50 gigs. It's a large game. You got to get that.
Hey, that was a tough one.
Do some shout outs for us, man.
Thank you as always to have me on. It's been a lot of fun. Always a good time. I sincerely apologize for the display of Mortal Kombat gameplay you guys saw. I promise that next time we'll play literally anything else and I will win, hands down. Ko's not great at video games, neither am I, but I'm better than him. Thank you guys again, and I'll be live today playing Minecraft for the first time in 4 years. So come watch, I guess. I don't know.
Jesus, what are you doing? Like, what is?
I'm building. You know what I'm doing right now?
Yeah.
I literally said I want to build one of the houses that I saw on Zillow the other day. Just a big old glass mansion, but I'm gonna put it underwater. And then when I get done with that, I'll probably get bored, like Counter-Strike.
Dude, the one thing I'm proud of building in Minecraft ever was from Lost. They had a station that was underwater. And I just thought I was like the coolest badass, like created this glass station under a lake. And I was playing on a server and like built it in secret. And then all the people like found it and shit. It was, you go, man. That's awesome.
I'm glad that we share that. Yeah. It's going to be cool.
We do some shout outs.
Hey, thanks for having me. Did you talk about that thing on the break?
Yes.
You did, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can finally say I have no idea how long it's been. It might be like over a year or so. But I have been on a 6-month campaign of begging JP to let me role play again. That's not true, actually. I finally am going to have some time to be able to role play again. So I am so excited to be joining the Fire Verona cast. And thank you to everyone who's supported role play over the years. I can't wait. Also, it's kind of funny because when you talked about you've got to have fun, right, JP? And like that's what's most important. I have gone through this week of like because I've been traveling so much of doing this thing where I'm like, God, I don't want to play Sekiro because I'm going to play for 2 hours and then I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks and then I just start over and so I've been like, fuck it, I'm just going to actually do something I've never really done, which is like just chatting, and just started opening up the phones and bringing people. It's brought me so much joy just to like sit there and just talk with people. And it's just strange because it's like, unless I'm doing a show, I just haven't done that before. So to that point, Slasher and I think some people might know who he is, former Live on 3 host. We've done a lot of shit together. We've been getting on almost every night we've been available and just like talking about shit happening during the day and letting people call in and chat. So if you're interested in dropping by, we'll be doing that again tonight around 6 p.m. PST. So thanks so much for joining us on Drop Frames. JP, Jericho, Co. Always a pleasure and an honor to be here. And I'll see you maybe tonight. Otherwise, on Far Verona.
This cat
Look
is
at
so...
kitty. Oh, look at the kid doing a fucking thing.
She's so annoying.
It's like a sleep.
Oh,
Yeah. She's
adorable.
She's just chilling. Anyways, that's it for Drop Frames. Also, if that is not an emote for Co, then what the fuck?
Oh, I know, right?
Incredible.
That's a great face. It's a good face. That's it for Drop Frames. We will be back next week. Zeke should be back from whatever it is that he's doing out in California. Cat, stop. She's clawing into my fucking leg. And we'll do another episode. We'll also start talking about E3. Jericho's actually going to be joining us for some E3 stuff the week of. So I
Can't wait to shit on games.
Yeah, it's going to be fun times. It's going to be fun times. He's our first confirmed guest for the E3 stuff, which probably should have made that a bigger deal, but there it is. We'll go on from there.
Footnote. It's fine.
Okay, footnote. There it is. Anyways, that's it. We're out. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.